Welcome to the Online Graduate Research Forum for Spring 2014. My name is Jeff Nelson, your presenter. I am a graduate student in the Masters of Science in Interdisciplinary Studies program in the Department of Occupational Workforce and Leadership Studies at Texas State University. The title of my research study is Service Dogs, a New Prescription for PTSD. Post-traumatic stress disorder, commonly referred to as PTSD, is a significant mental health issue impacting millions of Americans each year. Current figures suggest that at least 7.7 million American adults suffer from PTSD in a given year. That would equate to a prevalence rate of approximately 3.5%. Among veterans, the situation is far worse. Prevalence rates usually come in at about 18.5% for veterans, although many people believe this is a gross underestimate. Given my background in psychology and my love for animals, especially dogs, I felt this research was aptly suited to my strengths and interests. I had heard that some programs had started pairing veterans and service dogs as a way of mitigating the worst effects of PTSD. I looked around and located what I judged to be the best program of its kind in San Antonio, Texas. Train a Dog, Save a Warrior, better known by its acronym, TADSAW. TADSAW pairs current and former soldiers, what it calls warriors, with a prior diagnosis of PTSD with service dogs as a therapeutic intervention. TADSAW differentiates itself from similar programs by requiring warriors to train their own service dogs. This builds efficacy and self-confidence in the warrior and ultimately strengthens the bond between warrior and dog. TADSAW had met and exceeded numerous benchmarks of success prior to the start of this study. Still, an independent review was necessary in order for TADSAW to take the next step. Program expansion and grant funding become much easier when there is empirical evidence of efficacy. To determine the effectiveness of the TADSAW model, I employed a quasi-experimental design. My study population consisted of participants at TADSAW, enrollees and completers, from May 2013 to October 2013, 53 individuals total. My data collection procedures consisted of a pre-post survey, 2 pages in length. One page of the survey collected basic demographic information, and the other page consisted of the PCLM, a professional instrument designed to measure PTSD symptom severity among military personnel. The data I collected were then analyzed by way of inferential statistics, specifically independent groups and repeated measures t-tests. The main findings of my study were as follows. First, PCLM scores were 11.99 points lower among program completers. I arrived at this figure by subtracting the pre-treatment mean on the PCLM from the post-treatment mean. Training your own PTSD service dog, it would seem, corresponds with a sizable and significant reduction in PTSD symptom severity as measured by the PCLM. I like to refer to these individuals, those who have completed training at a TADSAW facility, as graduates. Second, TADSAW graduates are substantially better off than their peers. For our purposes here, a peer would be any individual who has signed up with TADSAW but has, for whatever reason, yet to commence with dog training. I observed a 22.9% decrease in symptom severity among individuals who had successfully completed service dog training at a TADSAW facility. Causal claims are not appropriate given this study's lack of random assignment and lack of a true control group. Still, it is fair to say that the TADSAW approach is associated with significant positive outcomes for participants. These findings were significant at an alpha level of 0.001. Third, to place these results in context, I compared them against those obtained by researchers using a different intervention, that of virtual reality exposure therapy, or VRET. In the VRET comparison study, participants worked through a virtual environment, a virtual Iraq, if you will, with desensitization to stimuli as the ultimate goal. My results were not as robust as those obtained in the VRET study. For instance, those researchers obtained a 50.3% reduction in symptom severity as measured by the PCLM. This inequity in results is worth noting, but it is not all that concerning in my estimation. Long term, I believe the magnitude of effect for service dogs will increase, while that for VRET will hold steady at best and likely decrease. This is because a warrior will have continual access to his or her service dog, not something that can be readily guaranteed with a virtual reality implement. Principal study limitation. I was unable to track changes in symptom severity within particular individuals across time. There are ample opportunities to correct this in future research. Given this limitation, future research should focus on individuals and not groups. Specifically, we need to know if the effects documented by this study are replicable to the level of the individual. In other words, does a self-trained service dog decrease PTSD symptom severity in particular individuals across time? As an extension of this line of thought, we would also like to know what happens to the magnitude of the effect with the passage of time. Once a warrior dog team is in place, do warriors continue to improve, or is there a leveling off and perhaps even a decrease in the magnitude of effect? From a VA and medical community perspective, another question is equally important. Do self-trained service dogs end up saving money, both for individuals and for society as a whole? We have started data collection in response to this question, but it is too early to make any definitive statements about cost. The author has submitted a manuscript of this research study for peer review to the publication, the Journal of Rehabilitation Research and Development. On the YouTube page below, please indicate your anonymous preference for this study by clicking on one of these two icons, thumbs up or thumbs down. Also, please post your comments or questions in the YouTube comment section below. I will respond to your inquiries posted between April 2nd and 23rd through this webpage. Thank you for viewing this presentation and for your subsequent feedback.